My name is Dinesh Koka. Thanks to eHealth for the opportunity for us to present. Our focus is primarily working with healthcare providers, and a big portion of our work is with diagnostic networks and lab chains, as well as larger healthcare institutes, both in oncology but also general pathology. So we've one of the key pieces of work that we did was in a pathology workflow, which is basically what I'm going to talk about. We're also displaying our solution there, so it'll be great to also have you at our stall, and I can actually spend more time explaining it in detail. Here, I've focused on the telepathology platform. It's not just about telepathology, but also about pathology workflow. It was built out of a clinical collaboration with a diagnostic network, and we primarily took the learnings from that. What does the pathologist want? What does the administrator want? What does the lab owner want? Or what does the head of the department want? And then that's how we went about building the technology. So this is the workflow, for example, and I'm also going to take you through the actual demo. Like you would know, in a department, we have a patient who's coming for a new case, and then it goes for reporting. In this case, we use innovative technologies to get the slide captured, the slide image captured. We have a solution which I'm showing here. I'll show at the stall as well, where not all of our institutes or lab chains have slide scanner or digital pathology, right? So we've built the technology to be able to take images even if you don't have whole slide imaging, WSIs, right? So we are able to capture images of the slide so that they are uploaded to the cloud platform, and from there, the pathologist can actually view using the platform, using the technology that we've built. And in addition to that, we've also enabled what is called a live telepathology service. So we've worked, like I shared, we've worked with a few clinical partners, a few case studies that we worked. One was a national network where they were wanting to connect UP with Orissa and back to Bangalore, but their core team of pathologists or senior pathologists were sitting here, but they had a basic team of pathologists sitting at the place where the smear was being prepared, or the biopsy slide being prepared. We actually use the technology to have them reported even though they are sitting remotely, right? Or provide that second opinion or second level expertise to their local pathologist at the center, right? And like I said, so we primarily built it out of a clinical collaboration. The focus was providing seamless workflow, right? So today you have an offline workflow. The sample comes in, your technician is preparing the slide or preparing the smear, and then putting it onto the workflow, and then pathologist puts it on the microscope, views it, reports it or transcribes it, and someone is preparing the report. So we kind of mimicked the workflow exactly to match that, so that there are no additional steps, because that kind of either introduces additional steps or a lag in the actual reporting process, or two, obviously in terms of the clinician using the platform, right, in terms of adoption, for them being actually to be able to appreciate the benefits out of using the technology. So that was primarily our focus. So this, I have this platform. I'm actually going to do a live demo. What we'll actually try to show is what does the technician do, what does the remote location do, where the the sample is collected, the slide is prepared, or the smear is prepared, and then what does the pathologist do at remote, and we'll actually show you in live as well, right? So first I'm logging in more as the remote technician. As soon as the technician logs in, the primary goal is to upload the different cases. So here we've actually done integration directly with the LIS as well. So even if you just type in the barcode ID or the lab ID, you can actually pull, using APIs, you can pull all the patient information directly from the LIS of the hospital or the lab chain, so that there's not a lot of data entry that needs to be done. So in this case, I have a sample where we've actually uploaded that, and then once that is done, we can we can either upload images right from here. In case you have a digital pathology or a WSI where you have captured images, or using a trinocular, you can upload your slide images here, or we also have something called a live capture. Right. So in this case, we actually have Now I have a microscope sitting right here, and yeah, so what we've basically done is connected that to the to the system here, and primarily the technician will be able to log in, enter additional slides, if you have images here, or you can actually go to a live capture of the slide. Here we have, in this case, we have a smear which is kept under the objective. As soon as that slide comes up, yeah. So we have the camera connected on USB, and so yeah, takes some getting some used to, but primarily we have the technician. We also give some training to the technician for them to also identify the hotspots, because here you don't have a WSI where you're scanning the entire slide image. So here they're primarily trained to take about 20-30 images. So in this case, I can just say snap photo. I can pan the slide, right? I can pan it to a different location and click photos again, and then I say done, right? So this is primarily what the technician is doing at remote, and then it's running actually out of a mobile hotspot. The technology is built to primarily work on low resource settings. The goal originally was you have these remote labs working on low resource settings. The amount of expertise available there may not be so high, but you do have a core expert, right? A larger team of pathologists sitting remotely. What if we could help the remote lab be able to upload it with very few clicks? So now that we've done, I'll actually show what happens at the remote. So if I log in as a pathologist, as soon as I log in, I see the entire workflow, right? The number of cases that have been uploaded for me to report. There are two ways to look at this. So you could actually have, like I said when I spoke about the features of the telepathology platform, we have structured reporting as well as a structured workflow. So you may have certain pathologists who focus only on hemat, only on histo, or only on certain sites within histo as well. We can actually plan the workflow right at the back end at the admin, because that is how we we've enabled for some of our clinical partners where they have a distributed set of pathologists. It's a larger, couple of large pan-India lab chains. They have pathologists sitting in Bangalore and Bombay and elsewhere as well, but each of them having these core expertise, right? So can you enable a turnaround time in terms of the slide reporting and not wait for the block or the glass slide to actually move to that remote location? So in this case, I'm a pathologist. I could just log into wherever I am and start seeing these images. At the same time, I could also request what is called a live stream, right? Suppose I have these slides. I could go in here and I could see these images and I could start entering a report. These report templates are standard. I could do different types of annotations provided I see something interesting, right? But at the same time, if I still have some doubt in terms of I still want to see the actual slide, I can go ahead and go back and request a live stream as well, live stream of the slide. All of this I'm showing on live, right? Live running on my hotspot. I can actually go back and request a live stream. In cases of live stream, you're actually talking to the remote lab and asking them to give you access to the slide image, right? So here I click the live stream. It will keep saying waiting for doctor. So once at the remote, I have the hemat technician logging in there and clicking live stream. So here I have the image that's been switched on because I am the technician. I have my slide available locally. I have a microscope. The microscope is connected to the system through a USB. So I've switched on since the remote pathologist requested for the live stream. I've enabled the live stream, and from the remote, this is actually the pathologist looking at it. I can actually say, even though the technician was trained to recognize the hot spots and take pictures of multiple, the pathologist can still say, I want to see this slide again, and request for the slide stream. And we have multiple communication tools that are used here. So in order for the pathologist to be talking to the technician. So the live stream is not necessary for 100% of your cases. You have those, maybe 10 to 15% of your cases where there is a doubt. But for 85% of the cases, you have your picture slide images which have been uploaded, and that's primarily sufficient for the pathologist to log in and enter their report, right? So that's primarily the platform that I want to talk about. Next, just to show where this the solution is being used. The first one is a pan-India diagnostics change, like I said. So they process a fairly large set of cases on a daily basis. So this is a pan-India chain, samples coming in from across 15 states in India, and obviously there's about 10 to 12% of their cases where they do want an involvement of a senior pathologist. And you don't want to use any of the normal rudimentary technology platforms, right? You would rather use a secure, which is what we do. You would rather use a secure platform where the trail of the data, trail in terms of the reporting on each of those cases is actually available. So they primarily have presence across 15 states. They have pathologists sitting at each and every location, but they have, like I said, the senior set of pathologists sitting at 2 or 3 of those locations out of those 100 locations. Those senior pathologists are actually able to log in, use it for multiple purposes. Either the expertise is not available locally, or purely for a second opinion or a QA in terms of what is the report that is going out of the lab. The second piece is where we've actually enabled this for a cervical cancer screening campaign. It's a large screening network that's been set up across a few states, across 4 states, and they expect to do about 60,000 pathology samples over the next 6 to 9 months. So they primarily, we've enabled something like this for their individual labs where the samples are coming in, and there we've actually done this training for the technicians, the senior pathologists. So they have local pathologists as well looking at the sample and giving the report, but they also have a senior pathologist on which they can fall back on just in case of an expertise or a second opinion, just to confirm the diagnosis. So they primarily use that for that, and also that enables them to give faster turnaround with much higher confidence in terms of the diagnostic report that is going out with their brand. And the last piece is, we also do this, we also do a lot of work in research. Most of this work is in the oncology space. We do a lot of work in the biopsy slides. Most of our work is in CA breast and cervix. There we are looking at a few biomarkers like stromal TILs, Ki67, and things like that. So that is a third area where it's purely a research focused work that we do with a few institutes, right? This is the team. It's a team of about core technology team, and combined with a data science, machine learning, and AI team, primarily looking at building technology, specifically in addressing the need of clinical partners, which is why we are very proud of the fact that we've built all the platform that you saw, the technology. We'll be happy to demo in detail at our stall as well. It was built primarily with clinical inputs, right? So most of the workflow that you saw, the clicks, each of those clicks or each of those pages were designed based on inputs from clinical partners, and so that's primarily what gives us a lot of confidence. We work with a few clinical partners across India for a range of our work, and today actually we are here to be able to show this, and we'll be happy to demo further and see if there are any collaborations that we can do with the leading clinical partners that are available here. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to also meeting you and interacting with you at our stall as well. Thank you.